Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Cup Chasers podcast. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Manchester City are on to the final, on to Istanbul after an absolutely blinding performance, dominating the champions and booking their ticket. If you are as happy as I know my man Lewis is, go ahead and smash the likes up, subscribe to the channel, and get that notification bell on. How excited are you, Lewis?
I was out with I was at a watch, I guess it was a watch party, whatever you want to call it, and at a city supporter thing, and even after the first goal, I didn't feel any relief until City was up 3. When City got up 3, then I was like, okay, we're gonna win. But I had all my notifications on my phone turned off. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I normally don't talk during the game anyways. But I was excited because they came out and Madrid looked really surprised that they would come out like that, which confused me a bit because I'm like, why do they look confused about City attacking them? And it was big because I think X had mentioned it that like Rudiger started. So when Rudiger did the start, I'm like, oh, that okay, that's a different throw. That Holland saw, he got pocketed and all that, so he was ready for it. So I'm sure Holland was a little deflated that Rudiger wasn't there, but it was the Bernardo Silva show. I mean, what's funny is
he had so much space to work.
He did, but here's the thing that's funny. Like, De Bruyne obviously was gassed for the final third of the game he played. And, he was kind of, for his standards, pedestrian, but the man had 2 assists. Like, he literally was just, he made the right passes when he needed to, and that was really it. And it wasn't much else, but that just shows how important he is and how, it goes to the whole, the team, revolves around his movement, mentality, and actions. And so it was exciting. I was happy to see a defender get one. Akanji got his goal. Even though I don't know, unless they counted that as an own goal. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, they counted it as an own goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. But I mean, it was a little bit of vindication from the but no vindication will be complete if there's no trophy lift at the end of it all. So it was good to slay the monster. I was disappointed after the fact when pundits went straight to, well, what did Madrid do wrong instead of kind of acknowledging, City played well. And I mean, Madrid did what they did because of what their opponents, brought to them. And so I'm fine with it. I'm excited. I think it's funny that some people really didn't want that to happen, but that's the one that they want. I hope that they do win, and super excited, man. I actually, it was funny. I looked for flights to Istanbul to see how much they cost. They cost $1,500, and
worth it.
And,
Worth it.
And,
how much is the ticket?
That's how much it is. He's breaking up.
Right, yeah.
It's just the game cost, and so they didn't release the prices because like supporting tickets, but you have $1 deposit down, and then you have to pay whatever it is because the supporters clubs don't know the price of the tickets either. So you have to put $150 down, and then the supporters club will pay for your ticket, but you have to be like
you have to
ready
pay,
to pay them back.
Yep.
So it's a that sounds like maybe close to what, $2,000?
Yeah.
Well, I know.
I don't know, man.
When Chelsea played at Bayern, I looked at going, and it was £499.
They would have not sold you that ticket because 98%, 98% of all those tickets went to Munich fans.
Oh yeah.
So they would have told you sorry, we're sold out, and then you would have ended up in a row C19 next to 18,000 Bayern Munich fans. Yeah. In the Chelsea section.
But I think that I agree that people immediately, didn't. Well, I mean, I don't know who didn't acknowledge City's brilliance in this game because I sure did because it looked just like the Arsenal game. Arsenal didn't do a thing. Well, Madrid didn't do a thing, and Modric was hitting balls all over the place. Valverde looked like a
left him on an
ghost.
island. They left
And
him on an island.
you said it in the chat. He was on an island because
left him
it
on an
was
island.
exhibited by that one moment perfectly when they've won the ball back. Modric gets it, has to dribble backwards, plays it off of, bounces it off of a City player and back off of himself, loses the ball and turns around going, I got nothing. And because that's how it was all game long. And just like City made Arsenal look like we couldn't put a pass together, it took Madrid 30 minutes to get any sequence together, like even one sequence together.
Yep.
And I thought at one moment, like, okay, Madrid are soaking it, but City were able to pounce and capitalize on the pressure. And I thought that Silva definitely had his influence, but as far as his goals, he was more of a right place, right time.
Right place, right time.
Yep. On the second one. The first goal, though, you got to give him credit for that. That was a straight,
power bar to 99.
He's done the goalkeeper completely, and then just, I'll slot it the other way. Thanks for falling down. Oh, man. But that's not to say that Courtois wasn't immense.
Masterclass of how to goalkeep.
Because it could have been at least three more. Haaland hit the bar, hit Courtois on the chest.
Hit the Courtois and the bar. Yeah.
Nearly it was a hat trick of saves versus Haaland. So Haaland, he took a hat trick from Haaland.
Yeah.
And they still lost 4-0. Amazing. City were amazing.
I think, like I said, man, it baffled me what Ancelotti did here. Like, I don't understand why you wouldn't want to try to play them as similar as you did in Spain. Like, the deployment of Camavinga in this game was completely mismanaged. And Valverde would have, I don't understand why you would keep someone in such an important match when they look swallowed for the first 15 minutes. Like, I didn't even think Valverde started the game until I went back and, watched the first 20. And I was like, oh, no.
He's still there.
Yeah, no, he's still on the field. Like, no, he started the game. Yeah. I don't know why you wouldn't put the hustle and the heart back in the midfield and deploy Camavinga where he really thrived in Spain and really kind of made them work around.
Well, they did it eventually.
They did, which is where they started getting their sequences together.
Too late.
Exactly. But they soaked in so much early. They got this mindset of, and I remember one of the announcers said it. It was, and then when he said it really, I was like, oh, that's the perfect word. He said it was passive. There's a difference between soaking it in and being defensive and being passive. And I was just like, oh, that's exactly how to describe that first half from Real Madrid. It was passive. They let City run and get a mentality in the game, let them do whatever they wanted. It was passive. And like I said, I think just from the start of the game, he got the tactics wrong. And by the time that they were able to correct anything, it was way too late because City either had control or they had the points needed to seize the gap that you have then put yourself in, or the hole. The hole is just too big. Yeah, you can count on Benzema hitting 2, but like what Lewis said, as soon as they hit 3, it was you might as well crack the wine, crack the champagne. You're good. You're good. Yeah. I just felt like it was.
I thought it was great as well that when the subs came on, you remember the commentator mentioned how Foden and Mahrez and Alvarez were animals in the press, up 3-0 in the 92nd minute.
You put 3 starters on as substitutes, right?
Also, and Lewis will probably back this up, they're like crying out for a start. So they come on and they're desperate and they're hustling and you get 5 minutes. All right, I'm gonna go kick somebody.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go steal the ball and dribble 6 guys and score because that's the only way Pep's gonna give me more time.
And you know they want to start in that final too. Like that's.
Well, that's why Alvarez
doesn't want to start in the final.
What was that? Well, I think that's why Alvarez, obviously went for broke in there, and it's really interesting because Foden played really well when he came on. They all were hungry. But the question is, what is the start for the final? Because you have to know the tactics that Inter will bring is different.
Very much so. What are you saying, Patrick?
No, people talk about, Real played poorly, and I do think they did, but that wasn't because they just played bad. It was because of what City did, and I did find it interesting. The tactical analysis I was reading yesterday after the match, it was talking about how Pep made it to where they isolated, or they pretty much marked out Benzema on goal kicks. And what they did is they funneled everything into the backs, and then the backs couldn't make the play upfield. So they couldn't get it to Modric, they couldn't get it to Valverde. And so City's press was able to pick them up and just keep possession and pushing and pushing and pushing. And I thought that was interesting, just because, you talk about they played Militao, which Carlo loves Militao, and he's good. Alaba is good, but I think in that sequence, you need somebody who's willing to be calm on the ball, and that's one thing that Rudiger really is. Like, he's known for his bombing runs 40 yards up the field, that he shouldn't be taking, but because he's confident on the ball, he takes it anyways. And I think that was honestly, I felt like Pep was showing off at this point. I mean, and you could tell just in his reactions and how he was after it. Like, he knew he had it. Like, he knew he had that thing called perfectly. And in a season where we've seen him tinker, in a season that we've seen him do some things that made us question, like, what's he doing? Like, why are they screwing around? Because it did feel like that at times. Like, when are we going to get the real City? It was impressive to see him take Carlo and just run circles around him.
Ancelotti it's the respect that you have for Pep Guardiola when you see a manager like Ancelotti tinker a little bit and get it wrong on such a big stage. Like, I don't want to take anything away from City when I say this, but I think this is where the pundits really kind of got away with it too, right after the game, and what Jake's talking about. I was shocked at what we received from Real from front to back, from players to manager. I was shocked to see that Real Madrid hit the field after what we saw in Spain, after what we've seen in the tournament, the players they have. They have, we talk about City having starters on the bench. Madrid's got a whole legacy lined up right behind Modric and Kroos. So, I was shocked to see them come out so flat. And they flatlined 15 minutes in. I knew. I even said it. I was like, bro.
Should they have played both, Rudy and Militao?
Yeah.
I mean, Militao is undroppable.
I think you play Rudy.
Well, right. And
I mean, Alaba's good on the ball. I'm not saying he's not. And he had a really good shot. But with the way Rudiger performed previous game, I don't see why he sits. I just don't. And I'll kind of take what you said, X, about, the front to the back in terms of,
Ancelotti got it wrong.
He got it wrong for one, but you got to give Pep credit. They took it all away. There was no space. Right. There was no space whatsoever. If you go back and you watch the match at the Bernabeu, there was space. There was tons of space for both teams.
Right.
Why it became 1-1 was kind of shocking. There was no space for Real. There was no space whatsoever. I mean, like y'all said, there was that moment where Modric had the ball and he had nowhere to go because there was no space. Modric. Everybody was gone. Everybody was marked out. And but in the same token, there was space for City. City had space all throughout the midfield and on the corners. I mean, Jack Grealish just absolutely just annoyed Real.
He annoyed me too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, the last time he jumped into, what was it, Modric?
Yeah, he's. I mean, we know that's what he does, though. That's his thing.
Yeah.
That's his thing.